morning, and welcome to the Haven Financial Group radio show. I'm Larry Kallevig, founder and CEO of the Haven Financial Group. Thanks for listening. Every week we talk about retirement, what's going on in the economy, the do's and don'ts, of what you want to prepare for in retirement. So it's good to have you. Feel free to give us a call at 612-504-8400 or visit us online at havenfinancialgroup.com. We're getting well into the new year. Kim, good to be with you once again.
It is great to be with you, and you're right. We are moving right through January, which, by the way, is just fine with me. Just keep going. It's late May that I want things to really slow down. Well, we've got a great show for everybody on this Sunday. Let's take a look at our topic. What makes a fulfilling retirement? Which I think is interesting because I think for everybody, that's something different. But there are some guidelines that we want to share with you that you might want to start to think about. Recent inflation numbers and your retirement lifestyle, for example. Habits that can help you live happy in retirement. Turning your hobbies into passions. And then finally, we do want to talk about retirement lifestyle mistakes that you want to keep an eye on because those could affect certainly whether you're happy or having a fulfilled retirement. Would you agree, though, Larry? These are some guidelines maybe, but everybody's retirement is different.
Everybody's is different. Our passions, our hobbies are different. But for retirement, it takes a kind of a well-rounded framework and a well-rounded retirement plan to execute what you really want to accomplish in retirement. Winging it just isn't a good plan in any capacity. So, those are the things we're going to talk about today because for years, I've heard of those, I hear those that have retired successfully, are happy, they still maintained a sense of purpose, and those that are just twiddling their thumbs, sitting on the recliner, and they're bored to death in retirement. And, those two individuals end up in different places, unfortunately. So, again, we want to prepare the best we can for it.
Inflation certainly affects people's retirement. I know at Haven Financial Group, you guys do a really great job of putting together retirement portfolios that take inflation into account. Something that has, I'm sure, in the last 4 to 5 years has affected a lot of retirees who didn't do that.
Oh, most definitely. And we do, you're right. We do take that into consideration, and inflation is real. Those financial advisors that don't factor that into the equation, I just don't understand because it is a game changer. The purchasing power of the dollar. You're right. The last 4 or 5 years, it's wreaked havoc on our money. It is trending down. We've headed in the right direction. Costs are still high, though. Annual inflation stands at 2.7% is the last statistic I got from November. Above target a little bit because their target is 2, but overall they're easing a little bit. So that's the good news as it relates to Social Security, because that's a big income stream that as Americans we rely on. The stable inflation that led to a 2.45% cost of living adjustment for this year. Not as big as those really high inflated years, but at least it's something. I mean, again, it's not a lot, but it does increase those monthly incomes, and that helps.
We're talking about inflation and how it affects your retirement years, and we're saying that the last 4 or 5 years have been pretty tough on a lot of retirees who maybe were not planning for the inflation that we've seen. Obviously the rate 2.7, Social Security it affects. It certainly has affected healthcare costs, which is a very expensive part of retirement.
Yes, and many times I've said this on air that oftentimes the healthcare is underestimated. Those costs can be exorbitant. We want to plan for those. The healthcare insurance world is just kind of a mess right now. No matter what side you're on, it's a mess. Insurance companies and the costs associated with it. And it's a big number. And that's why Glenn and Isabella at Haven Financial Group in our office, we're able to help a lot of people make good decisions in choosing their health care wisely through either Medicare, annual enrollment, bridging the gap if you're retiring or you leave the workforce before 65. These are all very important decisions that we're able to assist. And you had mentioned, we just talked Social Security. It's why we teach, and we've already taught a couple classes this year, Social Security and tax class. Both of them were pretty much full. So there's an eagerness to learn, which is why we always say education is so important. So I'm going to encourage listeners to go to our website, havenfinancialgroup.com. We've got all of our classes on the website. Again, it's a very interactive website. There's a lot of resources there, but all of the education classes from Social Security and tax to wills, trusts, and legacy planning, from Medicare Made Simple, some investment classes. We're utilizing our education, our new education center. We got some really good classes there. And I want to stress one, we've hired Dr. Mark Milstein from California to come in and do a book signing and a speaking engagement about health and wealth. It will fill up quickly, but I encourage people to take advantage of that. You say, why do you do so much education? Because we want people to make educated decisions, not fly by
Sure.
the seat of their pants and go, well, my buddy did this, so I guess that was the way we should have
Absolutely.
done
Yeah.
it.
And your retirement is not someone else's retirement. That's havenfinancialgroup.com, folks, if you want more information about some of those seminars and that wonderful speaker who's coming in to talk about finances and health. So, Larry, we've talked about a few of the things that ways that inflation can affect retirement, Social Security, and we've talked about healthcare, obviously food and energy. My goodness, we've all seen it at the grocery store. And interest rates, which is impacting maybe some investments. But let's talk about how Haven Financial Group puts together a portfolio for your clients that takes inflation into account. How do you do that?
Well, let me walk the listeners through what our Haven process is. I think that's a good place to start because we don't start with the portfolio. We start by obviously getting to know somebody, introducing ourselves, and getting to know who we're sitting across the table with, either by referrals, which we get a lot of, or through these classes, which people can come in. And there's no cost for these consultations, there's no surprises. And we ask a lot of questions. We take notes, and I love when people say, "Wow, nobody's ever asked me that ever before." And from there, we'll do that's the discovery meeting. From there, we'll do a strategy session, saying, "Come up with some ideas, recommendations, suggestions," and then if people think, "Wow, these guys aren't that bad," we would do an implementation process and onboard them, walk them through. That requires more attention at the beginning just to get on the same page, making sure we're sharing in the resources that we can give to them. And then it's ongoing. It's monitoring and adjusting things on the fly with this high inflation, maybe making some changes to their portfolio, treasury inflation protected securities, just utilizing a well-rounded, diversified portfolio where oftentimes we see people have all their eggs in one basket, and that oftentimes doesn't bode well in these high inflationary times.
Absolutely. Are you surprised by the idea that some preparers and some financial advisors don't take inflation into consideration when putting together a plan?
Oh, I'm shocked by it. I mean, and you say, well, why would they do that? I
Right.
have no good answer for that. Yeah, because it is a game changer. When we build out plans, the team, we want to plan for the worst and hope and pray
Right.
for the best. And we use a higher inflation rate than history because of that. And well, if the numbers are better than what we anticipate, great, but we don't want them to be worse. So we want to be as accurate as possible, and that's the value of having a really good partner that you can lean on. I've said it many times: retirement is more than a meeting once a year for 45 minutes to an hour. That's not the attention you deserve, and you should be getting more attention than
No two
that.
ways about it. Well, inflation, it can be a quiet eroder of your retirement savings, and that's certainly not something that you want. It'll change your lifestyle, and that's not something you want. So, even if you've already got a plan, maybe you need to bring it into Haven Financial Group and have it tested. Let them take a peek at it. Make sure that you're planning for inflation, or if you're just looking to put together a plan, give the folks at Haven a call. It's 612 504 8400. 612-504-8400. Tell them you heard us here on the radio and you'd like to come in. It's free. Sit down, and you heard how Larry, how they work there at Haven Financial Group. He just walked through the process. It's a fun one, and it's exciting, and I hear they have fabulous coffee. Again, it's 612-504-8400. When we come back, let's talk about some of the habits that you might have in retirement that could make your life happy and healthy. This is the Haven Financial Group Radio Show.